Good morning. Welcome to a beautiful Friday morning. The sun is shining, and what makes the day even more beautiful is we're sat in a 1997 last air-cooled Porsche 911 Targa. Okay, we're gonna take it for a little spin around the block. I'm gonna give you my thoughts, my interest, my likes, my dislikes, and we'll have a little day in it. All right, let's check it out. Coffee and a cruise. Let's go. All right, so here we are, sat in the 97 Porsche Targa. An old Porsche. This one's only got 16,000 miles on it, so still running like it's mint. You know, still running really good. The owner of this Porsche has really been good with his upkeep, with servicing it. This thing's running really well. Older technology, very analog, comparable to the new Porsches these days, but still just a really pleasant experience to be in. Real pleasant car to be in, and for a number of reasons that I'm going to try my best to sort of get into here. So just sat in the car. You know, obviously it's got a very minimalistic sort of, you know, race inspired vibe that Porsche generally does have. You know, the first thing that comes to my mind is the smell. You know, I equate it to like when you walk into you know, an old like a flea market or an old vintage market or a Goodwill, where you can smell all these old clothes and everything like that. Very similar sort of vibe here. You know, all the footwells and the mats and the, you know, the side dooring and stuff like that is done in carpet. So I imagine that retains the smell over time. It is what it is. You know, it gives it that sense of occasion, right? We're in something a little older, a little bit special. I should mention at this point that this car, you know, is 5x what its value was when it was bought. It's a 97 car. You know, given that the current market right now is at a real high. This thing these things are selling, these 911s are selling, these Targas that are the last air-cooled. That's what makes them so special, is that they're air-cooled, not water-cooled anymore, not turbocharged or naturally aspirated. They're selling for way above sticker, or way above their initial value. So a bit of a gem that we're sort of sat in here and able to sort of experience today, which is really cool. So in terms of, you know, sort of the feeling sitting in the cockpit here, again, the things that I noticed right away is that it is a race-inspired sort of car. So, you know, I got nice bucket seats here. They're really good quality leather, but I'm sitting down in the seat. I can feel the bolstering to the sides of me. I can feel the headrest here. Very sport sort of inspired. The big thing that stood out to me when I first got in this car is the brake pedal. It doesn't actually push down, it pushes forward actually, which is, you know, again, if you're sitting so low behind the steering wheel, you're almost on the floor, and so the brake doesn't need to go down. It actually pushes forward, which I find very cool. That's the one thing that I noticed right away. That was like, whoa, that's very like race car-ish. Found that really cool. Getting a look at the analog, at the gauges here, everything very analog. Again, I used race inspired. You've got a little clock here, you've got all your gauges, you got your oil temperature, everything you need when you're zipping around the you know, the track. So very cool, but also very sort of minimalistic. You don't really, there's not a whole lot else that you really need. The sound system, very average. Let me just roll up the window here. Hopefully I'm getting decent sound. Roll up the window. Yeah. So yeah, the technology in this car is like a 1 out of 10. It's not a priority in a car like this. You know, a little sound system, little radio, just to kind of, you know, just to kind of kick around. I think this car, you know, back in the day, it might have been a car for tracking. Probably not a ton. It's more of like a nice sort of kind of what Porsche is now. When you grab a 911, has the ability to be tracked, but you're really just, it's your weekend driver, right? You're gonna take your wife to a nice dinner. You're gonna go out for a nice little rip around the canyons, or some nice, you know, nice even tarmac on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. It's a weekender car, right? So, and that's the kind of cool thing about this car, is that I get that same vibe but just 20 years ago. So the technology is a little bit different. You can feel the horsepower and the torque, the steering. You can feel it all a little bit outdated. The steering is a little bit sort of labored. It's not electronic steering anymore. It's very I don't even know how to describe it. If it's not electronic assist, what is it? It's very you can tell it's just a little bit sort of labored. So that's one big thing that I kind of noticed right away. Horsepower and torque, as gorgeous as the engine sounds when I put my foot down, there's not a lot of power coming. I'm not, here's my foot down right now. We got a little loss of traction. Still has a great sound, but just not a lot of immediate power. I think this one's got about 250 horsepower, probably about the same in terms of torque. So, not crazy numbers, but again, I think sat in this car, it's more just the experience of the car. You know what I mean? I don't need crazy horsepower in this car. I just want to sit in it, and just everyone around you appreciates it. Every time you put your foot down, you're getting that nice engine note. It's a good car to sort of drive, to not have to drive fast. It's a bit of an icon, right? A Porsche, an old air-cooled Porsches, they're icons. They're just prize pieces to sort of be sitting in. So very cool looking car, and just a cool little sort of experience. Again, this is not your daily driver. This is your sort of your weekender car, just to kind of experience, as I'm doing right now, just to kind of rip around and enjoy on a weekend. All right. The things that I do want to note is, the heritage of this brand, right? Porsche, racing inspired company, right? If you look, one of the main sort of things that's kept true to the brand from years and years ago that you can see here, and you still see in new 911s, is the key. Everything is not, there's no push start. It's an actual key, and I'm just turning a light. I'm turning the light here, but let me just get around here and then I can kind of break it down. But it's an analog key. It's done through the left side. The reason it's done through the left side is because back in the day when you're at a race, you had to be out of your car. You had to run to your car. You had to put the key in the ignition. You had to turn it, and then you're off. And so Porsche, being the intelligent Germans that they are, thought, hey, well, why don't we put it on the left side of the steering column, just to save that extra little bit of time. You know what I mean? So that's still true here. Left side of the steering column, you got to turn it, you got to crank it. It's not push start. Mind you, the new ones maybe push start. I'm not too sure, but I think they've really stayed true here to what they do well. So I find that super cool here. Still, and I'll give you a couple little photos here. It's still on the left side of the column. You still have to crank it. You still get that nice engine note. It's cool. One thing I do find very interesting about this car, and I guess you get this in all sorts of sports cars, is it eggs people on. So just as I was saying that there was like a Buick LaCrosse freaking convertible coming around the corner, they see Porsche, they know it's a nice car, they know it's a fast, reasonably fast car, has a nice sound, and they want to rev up their engine, or they want to show what they've got. You know what I mean? So you almost need to be in this car and just kind of forget all that. Let me just center that camera. Just almost forget about it all, and put your ego aside a little bit. It's a nice car to just kind of just sit in and enjoy. Just drive and enjoy. And you can drive it slow. It doesn't need to be ripped around, but know that everybody around you is gonna want to sort of be proving a point, right? It's gonna want to be showing, hey, you're in a Porsche, well, look what I got, even if it is some shitbox going past you, and it usually is. So just be just be okay with that. I guess that's the allure of being in a Porsche, right? You just feel like you're kind of I've kind of made it, I'm successful, I've done my thing, I've got the luxury of being able to afford a Porsche. I don't need to drive fast, I have nothing to prove. Everyone around me has something to prove, and I'm just gonna kind of enjoy my experience. So just a little point when it comes to this car. Something I find really cool, and this is such a characteristic of Porsche, rear wheel drive, but a rear wheel drive car that, because it's got such wide, gnarly tires on the back, it puts the power down really well, and it handles like it's on rails. It's unbelievable. I can get this thing going. I'm gonna try and turn it a little bit. you know, I can take a corner really, really hard, and it literally does corner like it's on rails. And this is an older model with older, you know, we call them shoes, with older tires on here. So, you know, if you had new tires, new fresh rubber on here, this thing would be a dream around the corners. And obviously the new ones now with Michelin, you know, Pilot Cup Sport 2s and stuff like that, you know, with all the new technology, the updated Porsche technology, these things are just a dream to sort of to drive around and you know, and again, going through for a nice sort of enthusiast sort of drive where you're just kind of ripping around. You know, you're never feeling like you're not in control of this car. That's the one cool thing about these cars, that you always feel like you're in control. Almost too much so. I sometimes feel like this car is so good that it doesn't make me sweat at all. It doesn't make me worried really ever. I always feel like, okay, yeah, it's good. You know, I can push it super hard. It's gonna be capable. It's never gonna get squirrely. It's never gonna get its ass end out. You know, I'm never feeling I'm going into a corner too hard. It's just so capable. So as good as that is, it also can be a little bit of a negative, right? Like, you know, if you take it down a notch to M4s, Audi, you know, RS5s, you know, what else? You know, we talk about the Challenger SRTs. That's the definition. Charger SRTs of cars that are, you know, max torque, 800 horsepower, but they're straight line power. As soon as you want to start turning and handling, look out. And your hands, your palms are going to be sweating. So there's a different driving experience. You you can sweat in those. And so, you know, a lot of people actually really sort of enjoy that, right? I mean, it is what it is. But when you're driving it, it's kind of driving you. You're not really driving it. So let me just flip around here. Just kind of out for a nice little rip around the corner. One thing that I should mention in this car is you need to sort of be, I was going to say all with it, but you just need to be sort of in tune with the car. So an example of that is that there's no there's no driving assists to help you park. There's no, you know, there's no blind spot, you know, indicators when a car's in your blind spot. You know, there's no backup cameras. There's none of that stuff. So when you're driving this car, you need to be very alert. You need to know, you need to be in tune with your surroundings, right? Really feeling what's going on. So just something to be aware of. And I think that's something that Porsche's done a little bit better over time, is that they've now, you know, for good or for bad, is that they put all that analog assist into their cars now, or not analog, but the driving aids into their cars now. So, you know, you've got your blind spot, you've got your stop start, you've certainly got a rear view you know, camera, which I kind of like, you know, just to protect you when you're backing up into spots and stuff. But I think that's a big thing. I would like that here. Also, when you put it into reverse, when you're backing up into a spot, a lot of the new cars now, the mirrors just tilt down a little bit so you can see the curb. I think that's a big thing. You're in an expensive car, you know, you want some of these little creature comforts that'll help you to sort of protect the quality of your car, right? I mean, that's not taking away from the driving experience. It's, if anything, it's just kind of protecting you a little bit, helping protect your rims and stuff like that. So yeah, just to finalize my thoughts there, is just you know, when you're driving this car, it's an experience, but you have to be alert. You have to be feeling what's going on around you and really be with it. And you should when you're in a car of this sort of, you know, this quality, right? So I find that very cool. Okay, again, so we talk about horsepower and torque. This one's about 250 horsepower. You know, 250 give or take. I can put the actual specs up on the screen for you in terms of horsepower and torque. Doesn't have a lot of pickup when I first get into it, but the sound, that naturally aspirated flat six engine comes through right away, and that's the appeal of this car. That's why I say you don't have to drive it fast. It's just got such a good sound. So I'm coming onto a major road here, and let's just try and put her down here. Here we go. Oh yeah. And so, you know, I'll wait for myself to slow down a little bit. And so this car, you know, it doesn't come into its own engine-wise until you get into, like, you know, the higher rev range, right? It needs to really get up to speed before that engine starts to kind of come alive, right? Initially, it's kind of, but then it starts to, then it really starts to growl. So, you know, I'd say it's in and around second gear. This one also has Tiptronic and stuff like that. I haven't, because it's such old technology, I haven't even ventured a go on it, but I probably should. I probably should have a go on it, because it's, you know, it's PDK, right? PDK is probably some of the best transmission in the world. Porsche makes the best transmission in the world. I just don't know about in 1997 if they were still regarded, or if they had been regarded at that point as the best transmission in the world. Anyways, that's kind of my thoughts. I hope I didn't really leave anything out. This car's been a delight to sort of, you know, to be in for the last week. I'm gonna have to give it back to its owner in a couple days. I really want to say thank you to the owner, who's actually got this car for sale. So if you're interested in an old school sort of gem, last naturally aspirated, air-cooled Porsche Targa, right, with the full glass back and everything like that, this one's been really well maintained, low mileage, 16,500 on the speedometer. It's unbelievable. It's a 20-year-old car, and it's got the lowest sort of mileage on it. If you're interested in this car, let me know in the comments. I'll put some stuff in the description, and we can sort of put you in touch and get this car sold. I know he's really been loving it. He's been babying it. It's kind of, you know, it's his sort of weekender car, but I think he's ready to trade up to something a little bit more, you know, a little bit more exotic and a little bit more current. So yeah, those are my thoughts. You know, I've loved this car. I love the Porsche brand. I'm very anxious to now, using this as a benchmark, trying to get into something a little bit more. Sorry, coffee and a cruise. Gotta sip my coffee, right? I'm not sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts, but maybe if you subscribe and like this this video, I could get there eventually. Yeah, love the Porsche brand. Absolutely love the Porsche brand. Always has. As a kid, I've always loved Porsche. It's a bit of a status symbol. It's a bit of an icon. You know, the cars always have, the lineage has always looked very similar, even now. That's one thing I should probably notice, is that the cars, although the silhouette looks very similar still over the last 20 years, the cars are getting a little bit bigger. This car is very small. It's not long, it's not wide, it's very like tight, you know, almost for the bat. I feel like if I were to get into a wreck in this thing, you know, it could be pretty dangerous. The new ones are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that could just be cars in general, but that's one thing I noticed. So yeah, love the Porsche brand, love everything about Porsche, really. This one, even though it's 20 years old, it's just been an absolute like treat to be in. So thanks to the owner, thanks to Porsche for building an amazing product. Guys, if you've enjoyed this content, this video, like, subscribe, you know, join the content, join the community. I got something special coming for myself. No more reviews, or keeping the reviews to a little bit more, you know, limited sort of production. I'm gonna bring a car, you know, because everyone knows I'm in the market for my own vehicle, which I'm scheming behind the scenes probably in the next 2 weeks. So hopefully you're subscribed, hopefully you're locked in. I've got something cool coming to the channel. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Let's keep it going, okay? See you in the next video, you guys. All right, take it easy.